So today we will discuss about 5 compelling reasons to choose Informatica Powercenter as our ETL tool. Right here, mostly what we'll see, we are not going to look out for a comparative study between different tools available in the market and what are the different features available and their comparison. What we are going to discuss over here is more of a kind of from Powercenter perspective, what are the different features that can help you out in order to build up a robust data integration solution, and Powercenter can help you as an ETL tool. My name is Anirban. I've been working in Informatica for around 10 years, and currently I'm working as an Informatica SME, where I'm responsible for designing a solution for a data migration project, as well as leading the technical team who are currently working on the particular project. So the objectives for today's webinar would be the common challenges currently that we are facing for all of our data integration projects, a bit of overview of Informatica, the reasons and the features basically to choose Informatica as a ETL tool, and then we'll see availability and recovery in Informatica. We have a couple of demos, demonstrations during our discussion. However, due to the restriction of the licenses, we will not be able to show demonstration for all of the features. However, I have captured the screenshots, and I'll be able to show you some of the screenshots about the features. Okay, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. However, we will take all the questions at the end of the session. Yeah, there will be time for question and answer, and then at the end of the session, we'll be answering, we'll be taking all the questions, and we'll try to answer all of them. Yeah. Yeah. So as I said, that what are the different common challenges that we are facing in our data integration projects, right? So first and foremost thing is rising complexity of the data, right? As days are passing by now, companies are trying to analyze more and more information, right? Earlier, what used to be only the transactional data, now business are trying to analyze the interaction data as well. What are the interaction data? Let us consider online web store. Earlier, what you used to do, you used to log in, used to search for a particular product, and used to order the product, or a set of products you used to order, right? Company used to note down what are the different products that you have ordered, and he used to provide an invoice about the cost of the product, the unit price of the product, any discounts, and the total cost that should be paid by you. As well as there would have been some payment gateway. You have to use that to pay for that, or you could have opted for some other payment method. Now, if you look at or if you log into any renowned online web store, apart from giving you the facility of ordering the products or giving the products of your choices, it will also suggest you that what are the products that you have been that you can consider along with the product. So this suggestion feature, right? These suggestion features, they actually come when companies are trying to analyze the interaction data, like whatever you are doing on the online site, whatever you are clicking, everything they are capturing at the back end, and they are trying to analyze. So these actually rising the complexity of the data, and the way they analyze, the way that it is captured, they are not in the form of a structured way, right? So these are mostly the unstructured way, the web logs, capturing the web logs, analyzing the web logs. Those are kind of unstructured way. Apart from that, companies are also trying to analyze the data appearing in different social network sites and appearing from various sources of data. So that's actually, those actually are giving huge complex data for the businesses to analyze and to decide something, take the decision based on the data, right? So that is actually rising the complexity of the data. Then there are the concept of the dirty data. Now all of the data, those have been captured. They may not be relevant, or they may not be having proper format, the way business need it for analyzing, right? Now we need to have a data which should be meaningful to analyze, right? We need to remove the data which does not mean anything to me or which are not correctly formatted. So those are the ruddy data. Then increasing business demands. Earlier, when we had data warehouse solutions being built up, it was considered that there was, there was supposed to be some latency. So if some transaction is going on for today, right? People used to think that it would be appearing in the reports or maybe in a month away or maybe in a weeks later, right? But currently the trend is the real-time data warehousing as and when the transaction is happening, right? And that point of time we should be able to analyze the data so that on the daily basis we will be able to know that what are the products those are getting sold or different analysis based on that real-time scenarios. And one way each and everything is rising, right? However, the cost required to analyze, to build up system, to build up infrastructure, to support the efforts of the resources, those are getting decreased. So people are now bound to think about the cost-effective and high-standard enterprise data intelligence solution, wherein whatever the amount that we have invested, they should be leveraged in such a way so that we have a cost-effective solution, and the solution that we'll be choosing that should cater all the needs of a particular business. So, well, Informatica has given us an approach which is a comprehensive, unified, open, and economical as a sense, right? So, whatever is a project related to a data integration, that may be a data warehousing, that may be a data migration, that may be a test data management archiving, data consolidation, master data management, data synchronization, any kind of data integration project, Informatica has got a solution for that. So here in this particular diagram, what we have tried to depict here, these are the different types of data integration projects that currently businesses are taking in order to make themselves relevant in the area of in their own competitions, right? Now Informatica has got different products. So they have got ultra messaging, they have got complex event processing, B2B data exchange, enterprise data integration, the Powercenter tool, right? Then application ILM data quality. For any sort of data integration needs, Informatica has got a product. And apart from that, Informatica has got both on-premise and cloud data integration products. So any sort of integration needs, Informatica can help you out. And these are the different products that we have Informatica is offering, right? As I said, that we have got Informatica's data quality software, which you can use along with your ETL software to cleanse your data. Then it has got complex event processing software, master data management, B2B data integration, enterprise data integration, alter messaging, application ILM, and it has got connectors to analyze the data from the social media, from the device, data coming out from the different devices. So, I mean, all set of data, all set of products, they have been built up or they have been acquired, keeping the data integration in mind. And apart from that on-premises solution, Informatica is also offering a cloud-based solution as well. Why Informatica? As I said, it's a proven technology leadership in data integration solution, and as per the statistics given by Informatica, it has achieved around near 100% go live success rate for projects that have used Informatica as a data integration solution. 94% rate of renewal, significantly higher than the industry average of 86%. These are some statistics that have been taken from Informatica Corporation itself. 92% customer loyalty rating, nearing world-class levels. A track record of continuous innovation. So Informatica have been modifying and re-architecting their products so as to adjust the competition in the market. So that they can provide a unified data integration solution. In the next slide, we'll see how the data integration architecture, how Informatica has changed their architecture as a whole from version 8 to version 9 in order to accommodate the different ways of integration. And then it has got unified open model-based architecture. We'll talk about it in a subsequent slide. And another one is the most neutral, trusted partner. What are we calling it neutral? Because Informatica supports a vast amount of the sources and the targets. So different set of products like any DBMS, those are being used by business in order to conduct their business. Any applications, any other sources, Informatica has got a connector for it. Yeah, the Informatica 9x architecture, 9.x architecture. So as a whole, these are the components which are working along with each other or in conjunction with each other in order to perform the ETL activity and satisfy your data quality needs, right? So the components in blue are the component for Informatica Powercenter, and the components in green, they have been added new in our Informatica 9.6 architecture. Now components in green, they are mostly related to your data quality, data analyst, and Informatica analyst for jobs related to that. However, the integration service, recovery service, and metadata manager service, they were basically associated with Powercenter, and they have been currently moved into the Informatica 9.x architecture. Now, what is the fundamental difference between the 8.x architecture and 9.x architecture? The 9.x architecture is basically re-architected from the 8.x architecture. It's quite open. It's open, and here you can plug in. And the architecture has been made in such a way so that every service can be plugged into the Informatica Services Platform. The ISP stands for Informatica Services Platform. So you will have to give ISP the model of the service and the different the attributes and different functionalities of the service, and you have to register the service with the ISP. And then whenever you need a particular service to run, the ISP will instruct the service with associated commands, and the service will be executing by itself, and it will just inform ISP about the different aspects of the events, right? However, while it was in Informatica 8.x, it was quite a tightly coupled architecture. So we had got PCSF, Powercenter Services Framework, which used to control that starting, stopping, and logging of different services. Yeah. So as and when that is the reason Informatica has made that particular architecture redundant and moved all of its architecture towards new 9.x architecture. However, the Powercenter component is having the same architecture as of now, but they have been given some adapters so that the existing PCSF architecture, existing PCSF framework, they can connect with the ISP and perform the relevant jobs, right? And this is basically that single unified architecture for Powercenter. So at the left hand side, we have got the providers, which we have where we have the different sources which Informatica can connect to. There are more of them as well. We have just managed to mention a couple of them. And then we have got the administration console. From here, actually, we're administrating all that services, right? Then we have got services framework, which is basically responsible for. Yeah, Nanda, we'll take all of the questions. We'll take all the questions at the end of the seminar, at the end of the webinar. Okay. And services framework, which are basically responsible for managing the services, both application services and the core services. So now application services are the services which are helping you to perform a particular job, like moving the data, fetching the data from the source, transforming the data, and writing into the target, right? However, there are some services which are called core services, which are not visible from your administration console, but they work at the background. They help the application services to perform certain jobs, like log service, domain service, licensing service. They actually help up the repository service and integrated service in certain aspect to complete their job, right? And now at the end we have got the consumers, meaning our targets. So basically we are getting the data from the providers, we're transforming it with the help of the Powercenter client, and the data is transformed to the server, and then they are moved to the they are kept for the consumers to consume, right? And this is the overall architecture from the services point of view. For the Powercenter, this is the same old architecture. The same old architecture has been kept for the Powercenter in 9.x as well. However, as I said in the previous diagram, right, we have got certain adapters which help us to connect and to form the messages in the form of the ISP, right? So that the existing structure of the PCSF can talk to the ISP, right, or Informatica Services Platform. Now, this is the overall architecture. We have got in our Powercenter, we have got the repository service, we have got integration service, and then we have got our clients, Powercenter clients, which basically connect to that sources and the targets in order to gather the metadata informations. And then now those informations, all the metadata, those are stored in the repository database, right? And then whatever the logic that we are implementing using the Powercenter Designer, whatever the logic that we are making out here, they are also stored in the repository database. And integration service is basically the service which is responsible for executing a particular Powercenter job, right? Now, as and when integration service is requested to run a particular job, integration service talks to the repository service to get the details of the job, and repository service takes it from the repository database, brings out whatever you have written for that particular job, and gives it to the integration service. Integration service then takes it up and executes the particular job. Now, in order to execute it, first goes to the source database, or the sources basically from where we are fetching the data. Then in the server, it transforms the data using the different transformations that we have already used in the mapping, right? And then it moved to the target database. So this is the way the whole Powercenter works. And we have got administration console from where we are basically maintaining the security. Now, as we talked about, the discussion is on about the sessions, reasons behind Powercenter to be chosen as your favorite ETL tool, right? The first reason is your universal data access. Now, Informatica Powercenter has the product access to the data, including the near universal access to all mainframe sources, including IMS, IDBMS, Adabas. These are the different data systems actually. vSAN files, mainframe, and IBM AS400. Apart from that, it has got connectors or access. It has got connectors to connect the SAP. The application ERP is basically SAP Oracle apps. So it is complemented by Informatica Power Exchange and the suite of Powercenter components, right? So standard installation of Informatica will offer you, connectivity with certain databases as well as the file sources and XML sources. However, if you need some specific application sources to be connected, or some other mainframe sources, then you need to install a Powercenter Exchange in conjunction with Powercenter product. Basically, Power Exchange, you need to install it along with your Powercenter in order to connect to that particular application sources or your mainframe sources and those things, right? So whatever we are trying to say here, that it has got connectors for each and every, almost all of that data sources. Those are being used by business. Those are being used by the business to perform their business activities. It has got connectors for structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data, relational, mainframe, file, and standard-based data. What are standard-based data? Standard-based data are basically data which comes in a specific format, and they actually adhere to some regulatory point of view, right? Like the HIPAA standards, the SWIFT standards. So those are business-defined standards, and those are created in order to exchange the data from same set of businesses. So businesses which are associated with healthcare, they are mostly they mostly exchange the data in terms of which basically follows the HIPAA regulations. And the bank data. Banks, they exchange the data using the SWIFT code-based data, right? Informatica has got connectors for all set of prominent data structures. Those are being used by business text in the data. Then Informatica has got Big Data Edition, which supports NoSQL big data stores such as Hadoop and HDFS, and it also supports message queue data as well. Reason two, we have got Informatica has got the support for mission critical enterprise-wide data integration. So it has got all the features. It has got all the features which can support mission critical enterprise-wide data integration. What are those features? We have got high availability, failover, and seamless recovery, restricted by licenses. We have got grid computing support, again a license feature. Then your full zone optimization, metadata management, team-based development, data masking, data validation, proactive monitoring, and it has got inbuilt scheduling tool as well. Now, what about that high availability and failover seamless recovery? The Powercenter has got high availability option, which provides high availability of all Powercenter components, seamless failover and recovery of stopped or interrupted work, and simplified setup and the management through a web-based administration console. Now, if you have currently, let us say that in a particular machine, your particular Informatica services are running, right? And at a certain point of time, if it fails due to certain reason, due to machine failure or something, right? So you can configure a backup service, right, which can elect itself as a master and can take over the activities over there. Now, whatever the time that has been taken in order for the other other system to take over as the main server, right? That point of time, whatever the failure has happened, Informatica is giving you the option to recover them automatically as well. So if you have high availability features available, then you can recover from the failure checkpoint. I mean, from where actually your job failed, right? Now let us say that we have got domain 1 domain, and here we have got node 1 and node 2, right? And let us say that all of your server are running, all of the services are running in this particular node, right? And this is your master gateway node. And now suddenly, and we have got this is your backup gateway node. Now, suddenly, due to certain reason, this particular node has failed, right? Now, if you have high availability option available, then the backup gateway node will elect itself as a master gateway node, and it will continue running all the services. And this will happen automatically if you have high availability license. And then whatever the time that is required for this node to take up this position, those particular time, whatever the jobs has failed, those will be recovered automatically if you configure automatic recovery option. Now, in order to let you give a feature of whatever the high availability, let me tell you about something. What are the domain and what are the nodes? Yeah, hi. Guys, are you able to listen to me? Because I'm seeing people are saying that they are not able to listen to me. Is it fine, guys? Guys, you are able to listen to me? Yeah, so Asim, I think let me check at the system, right? Because I'm seeing that other people are able to listen to me. Yeah, then as we're discussing that domain and node concept. So domain is basically that overall management part using which we can manage all the nodes and all the services. And node is the machine where we are installing the Informatica. So node is the logical representation of the physical machine. So as and when we're installing Informatica particular machine, that particular machine is considered as a node, right? Now, you'll have the option when you are installing Informatica, you'll have the option of joining a particular domain, or let me show you a screenshot. Okay. So whenever you are installing Informatica, you will have the option of joining an existing domain, or you want to create a particular domain. For the first time installation, you will have to have create a domain, and the node where actually you are installing, the machine where you are installing, that will be your master gateway node. And your subsequent installation, you will have the option for choosing if you are going to join the particular domain as a gateway node or as a particular worker node. So these are the different terms associated with the node where we are installing Informatica. The backup gateway node can be considered as a master gateway node as and when the master gateway node fails. So it can erect itself as a master gateway node if you have high availability license. It can erect itself automatically, right? So that is the way Informatica is addressing that certain failure in any of the node where basically master gateway node is running, right? Then we have got the grid computing support, where actually we are using a couple of nodes to form a grid, and we are sharing the load of that jobs that we are running in a particular environment. We have got push-down optimization. Using push-down optimization, we are trying to push that different logics, right? We are trying to achieve the ELT concept, where we are extracting and then we are loading it to a certain database and leveraging that power of that certain databases or database management system, DBMSs, right? The capability of the DBMSs to transform the data and to push it to the target system, right? So the push-down optimization is helpful when you are having RDMMS, which is having a lot of processing power left, and you can then use your push-down logic, push-down optimization feature to push down certain logic to the databases. Then we have got metadata management to track certain columns, like the certain attributes from the source to target. It provides you that the data lineage for all of your data. Then you have got team-based development, which actually helps you in collaborating, with different teams sitting different parts of the globes. And then data masking, to encrypt your data validation, a tool which will help you out to test your data warehouse. Proactive monitoring, a tool which will help you out to monitor the Powercenter environment proactively, and it will give you alert as and when certain the thresholds are met. Then we have got inbuilt scheduling tool to schedule your jobs. Failover, as I said, that automatic restart of Powercenter services on the same or another node. It is possible if you have hybrid feature. Primary and backup nodes are available. No failback to primary. Resilience, automatic retry of failed connections within configured period. So it will keep on retrying. It will keep on retrying for a certain amount of time as configured in your administration console, unless and until it is able to get that connection. So where actually the resilience is applicable, clients and sessions resilient to network errors. So it will wait for some time unless and until it's getting a connection, it's getting a proper packet from the network, DB connections. So it can even wait for getting DB connections for a certain threshold amount of time unless and until it's getting for it. So it will not fail at the first time. So it will request for the DB connection. If it doesn't get, it will not fail. It will wait for some time. It will again retry for that. Similarly for the FTP connections. And the recovery, running the workflow and sessions will automatically restart it and resume checkpoints. And we need to have the HA licenses, hybrid licenses, in order to avail these features. Then cost-effective scalability. What actually is the scalability? Scalability is basically the way you can scale up your system, provided you have the need for it. Right now, whenever we started development for a particular data intelligence solution, we may not have the idea about that overall growth of the data that would have happened, and subsequently near future, maybe next 2 years, next 3 years. If you're seeing the sudden growth in data, but your existing infrastructure, it's still not being used that much, right? You can leverage your existing infrastructure, including all hardware, software, etc., and operating systems and application servers as well, right? And so that you can scale up your system, so that you can scale up your system using different features of Informatica Powercenter, and you can use them in order to fulfill your data processing need according to your data growth. What are those features? Partitioning option, parallel execution of sessions, workflow concurrent execution, integration service on the grid, and session on grid. So we have got a partitioning option which will actually create parallel connections to the source and targets, as well as parallel threads to process the data, right? To accommodate, your higher data growth. Parallel execution of the session. You can even execute same session parallelly. You can execute the sessions parallelly to process more data. You can run workflow concurrently. You can run the integration service on a grid, and you can run the session on a grid. By the way, you can leverage the processing power of more than one node, so as to distribute the task on a particular node, or even run them parallelly. Achieve parallelism using Powercenter partitioning option. So we have got to process the massive data volumes with high performance, data smart parallelism, guarantee data integrity, and session design tools. So we have got in the Powercenter itself, right? If you go to that workflow manager, one of the client tool for Powercenter, right? So in there, if you edit the session, if you double click the session to edit the task, and the mapping tab, you're able to see that there is an option for the partitioning. But partitioning is a licensed feature, right? Now in the partitioning, you have the option of creating partitions for different transformation at different transformation level. Now, as and when you are creating partitioning, right, it means basically you are creating parallel threads. You are creating parallel threads to process the data. If you click on edit partition, you will have the option for choosing what kind of different partition scheme that you are going to use over there, right? And you can add up that how many number of partitions that you want to create over there. And once you add up, and then you go to that mapping tab, you'll be able to see these are the different partitions. These are the different partition attributes. And if you want to provide any SQL query over there, let us say that we can say that we are reading a data from particular file, a particular database, right? Where we are issuing that query, select star from select column 1, column 2, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4 from tab 1, right? Now this is a huge data set that it contains millions of records, right? So we can try to break it up based on certain key, right? Select what are the columns we have from tab 2, where column 1 between 1 to 1000 or something. In the similar way, we can provide that these sequels, partition options, right? So that at the time of execution, what Informatica will do, Informatica will connect to that particular source parallelly. 4 connections will be opened parallelly to the particular source, and based on the query that you are providing over here, it will start fetching them parallelly. So it will reduce your processing time. However, creating partitions will increase your demand for the resources. So you need to ensure before creating a partition, you need to ensure that you have got a sufficient resource to process the partitioning options. Right? In a similar way, you can provide it at different transformation level as well. You can provide it at indicator level. You can provide it at your target definition level as well. Concurrent workflow execution. So Informatica has got the option for executing the workflow in the concurrent level as well. The same workflow, same instance can be executed concurrently. So if you go to the workflow properties, you go to the workflow, edit, and then we have got the option for concurrent workflow execution. If you click on enable, it will give you for the option to start, to configure your concurrent execution. The same workflow you can execute concurrently. Threaded parallel processing. That's what we have already discussed. So basically, as and when you are creating a particular session, Informatica by default creates two partition points. If you do not have any partition point, if you go there, you will see two partition points are present. Right? One is at the source qualifier level, and one is at your target definition level. Right? It does it so that it can create different threads. To process different tasks. Right? So the first one, this from source to source definition. This is a part of the reader thread. Reader thread reads the data and passes it to the transformation thread. And from this part to the target definition, this is the responsibility of the transformation thread. This transformation thread actually transforms the data, receives the data from the reader, transforms the data, and moves it to the target definition. And this is responsible for the target definition of the writer thread to write the data to the target definition, to the target basically. So as and when you are creating a session, Informatica by default creates two partitions. One is at the source qualifier level and one is at your target definition level. In order to segregate the stages, Informatica processes the data in the stages basically. So in order to differentiate the stages, it creates two partition points: the reader stage, the transformation stage, and the writer stage. Now, if you want to go for the threaded parallel partition, what you have to do? You'll have to create partition point at the different stages, right? So that the threads that those who are running singly, that one single thread was executing and performing the particular action. In that case, we can have multiple threads running parallelly or simultaneously to do that particular activity. Right? So this is what we are calling the threaded parallel processing. And then we have got the option for concurrent processing. Concurrent processing we have already seen for the workflow. We can execute the workflow. We can execute that workflow in a concurrent way, or with the same workflow instance will be executed multiple times, as well as we can even execute the session parallelly. So in order to execute a session parallelly, what you'll have to just do, you'll have to create a session over here. Yes, any of the mapping that is associated, and then you just have to connect this thing, right? If you configure the sessions in this way, at the same level, right, they will be executed parallelly. As and when you will start execution of the workflow, this session will run parallelly, right? So this is the way you can execute the sessions also concurrently or parallelly. Now, as I said, as and when you are creating one session, Informatica by default creates the partition points to segregate the stages. Threads are created to move the data down the pipeline. So different threads, reader thread reads the data and sends it to the transformation thread. Transformation thread transforms the data and sends it to the writer thread. The data is moved in pipeline stages defined by the partition points. So the places Informatica has created partition points, or the places we are creating partition points, those are basically differentiating different stages. According to this particular diagram, we have got 4 stages. First stage is that activity of reader thread. So we have got, let us say that we have created 3 partitions over here. So 3 reader threads will be created, and they will be executed. They will be executed parallelly, and they will fetch the data parallelly from the 3 partitions. And then it will be the responsibility of the transformation thread. So 3 transformation threads will be there, which will get the data from the reader threads, and it will transform the data as per the transformation logic, right? And then they will be sent to the writer thread, or that the 4th stage, where the writer thread will connect to the target system, the target database, and it will write the data over there. And these are the different partition types that Informatica is providing: pass-through partition, key range partition, round robin, has auto key, has user key, database, and dynamic partitioning. So Informatica actually creates the different flags, and based on that, based on the color of the flag, you can identify that what are the different partition schemes that have been used over there. Or whenever you are going to create over there, you will do visibly differentiate it based on the color of the flag. Concurrent processing, as I said, running sessions in parallel, and concurrent workflow execution. You can configure it from the Powercenter itself. Then the grid features. Grid is basically the collection of the nodes, right? Now, let me show you one thing. These are certain requirements for a grid to work, right? First thing is here. Whatever you talked about high availability, this license should have been there. The license should be there along with the Powercenter license. Unless and until it is there, will not be able to use any high availability features, right? And for the grid option, you should have these two license options: server grid for Powercenter and session on grid for Powercenter. Now, how we can create the grid? Let us look at the admin console. Right here, we have got multiple nodes available, and 2 of them are not available as of now. However, 2 of them are available. Node 1 and node 5, they are available. Right? In order to form a grid, just a moment. In order to form a grid, what you need to do, you need to go to the actions, select domain. You need to go to the actions, new, and then click on grid. Now, when you have to give a name of a particular grid, it is grid 3, and then on the nodes place, you have to browse and have to select what the different nodes are available, and you want to make them as a part of a grid. Click on that, enable integration service for this particular node. If you run a Powercenter integration service, okay, that's fine. So these 2 nodes will be a part of a particular grid, right? Let's create the grid. Now, once the grid has been created, in order to leverage the grid feature, you have to first create an integration service which will run on this particular grid. Normally, in the single node domain installation, what do you do? You just create the integration service which runs on that particular node where actually we have installed Informatica on the single node, right? However, if you have the grid option, you can run the integration service in the grid as well. So we can give the name as InfraGrid. It will ask you for the license, and then this is that grid that you have just created. Click on it. It will ask you for the repository service, then your username and the password for the repository service. You can choose any data movement mode based on your requirement, and click on finish. It will ask for your code page for that 2 particular nodes, and your integration service, which is actually running on the grid, has been created. You just need to enable it. Yeah, so creating a grid is this easy. If you have provided you have got the proper license, and creating a grid is this easy. Now, once you have created the grid and you have created one integration service to run on the grid, you'll see, go to the processes. Okay, so this is actually running on both nodes, right? If you click on particular node, you'll see it has got processes. You've got 2 processes, right? One is integration service on the grid, which is actually running on both the grids, both the nodes, node 5 and node 1. Right? Now, once we have created an integration service, we can assign this particular integration service to certain workflows, two workflows, right? So we have got a particular workflow. Right? We have got a particular workflow where we have to change the integration service. Right? So from here, whatever the service that you have just created, you can change it. The service infra INTS create. Now, if you click on that, we just changed the integration service for the particular workflow. Okay, and click on apply. And if we save it, now we execute it. It will decide. We have got a dispatch mode available. Where actually it is configured. You'll have to based on the dispatch mode that you have configured. It is configured under the domain properties. I'll go to the properties. Currently, the dispatch mode is round robin, right? So based on the dispatch mode available over here, Informatica integration service will decide that where actually it will send the particular task. So that actually based on your, and there are other dispatch modes as well available. based on which integration service is capable of sending particular session task to a particular node. Now we can, if we start the task, so this particular option, this particular job has failed because it has, so it has tried to execute. It has tried to execute from another node 05. The current node where we are sitting in here is node 01, right? So it is not getting that particular file. It is not getting that particular file or the source file at that node that it has chosen to execute. The node that it has chosen to execute. Hence, it failed, right? So this has been created. The demonstration created purposely so that we can understand that each and every node which are part of a grid, they should have same structure. They should have same, the file, folder structure, as well as they should have the same client software installed in it. Unless and until they are similar from the configuration perspective, jobs may fail. Certain tasks, those are assigned to this particular node, they may fail. Just the way it has failed, it could not get the file at the proper location. This particular folder structure is not present over there. That is the reason it failed, right? In a similar way, if it would have been the same folder structure that is currently in the node 1, then it would have succeeded over there. If we again run it, it will try to send the work from start the work from your node 1. Then it may succeed. See, the next time we executed it, it started it from node 1. It didn't go to the node 5. It is round robin, right? One job here and one job in the other node. The same it is distributed. Right? So then it has succeeded. Now there are other dispatch modes available, and we can configure the dispatch mode from your Powercenter administration console or the Informatica administration console. We can even configure the session to run on a particular grid. So if you go to the config object, and at the end, if you have the option, that is enabled. If you enable session on grid, this particular session will run on this particular grid. So certain tasks will be sent to that particular grid, and this actually will enable your the parallel option of execution between the different nodes, increasing the scalability. Session on grid, then dynamic partitioning, and your resource map. What is dynamic partitioning? As of now, what you have seen that we will have to specify that scheme of partition or the type of partition as well as the number of partition. However, Informatica has got option for specifying. Informatica has got option for specifying or choosing that choosing based on certain criteria. Informatica can automatically choose this partitioning scheme, right? If you configure it in certain way, if you configure the session in such a way, right, in the config tab, at the end you will have dynamic partitioning. Currently it is disabled. If you enable it, it will see you that what are the different options that you can use along with the dynamic partitioning. What are those? Based on source partitioning. What is that? Determines the number of partitions using the database pattern partition information. The number of partition is the maximum number of partitions at the source. So that based on that, your source partitioning scheme, mostly your database partitioning scheme, you can Informatica can choose the partitioning scheme. Then based on the number of CPUs, number of cores basically, how many number of cores and how many number of nodes, multiply in that. Based on that, it can create that many number of partitions. And based on the number of nodes in the grid, if you are using integration service on a particular grid, and what is the number of nodes, it can create those many partitions. So if you enable dynamic partition, so these are the different criteria based on which Informatica can choose what is the partitioning scheme. Apart from that, it has you have the option for increasing the number of partitions as well. So you can specify that a particular number over here which is greater than 1, and Informatica can create those many number of partitions, and this can be parameterized as well, the number of partitions option. And then if you have got a requirement, to run a particular task at a certain node, you can even achieve that using a resource map. Resource map you can configure from admin console using the domain properties, right? And then you can assign a particular resource to a particular node, and then you can, when you are either going to execute a particular session, you can assign that particular resource to that particular session so that it can use that particular node only during the execution. Use workflow on grid if there are many concurrent sessions and workflows. Leverage multiple machines in the environment. It requires heterogeneous platform. Use resource map to constrain where the sessions are dispatched when sessions in the workflow depend on each other and there is no shared storage. When the sessions share cache, when the sessions share cache or target of one session is used by another. Required sessions resource is located on the node where a master integration service running process is running. So these are different points that need to be remembered when you are configuring the workflow on the grid. Session on the grid, session partitioned and dispatched across multiple nodes, allow unlimited scalability. That is based on your the availability of your the dynamic partitioning and availability of the nodes based on the configuration that you have chosen over there. Source and targets may be on the different nodes, but they should have the connectivity with both source and the targets, more suited for large sessions. So if you've got some large sessions which requires a huge amount of data, you can configure the session to run on a particular grid. Smaller machines in a grid is a lower cost option than the larger multiple CPU. These are different considerations for session on grid. Dynamic partitioning that we have already discussed. Reduce the amount of specification from users. So here in this case, you don't have to specify the different partitioning scheme at different transformation level. You don't have to calculate that what are the different options that are available, right? Informatica has the capability of providing dynamic partitioning options. So if you choose this particular option from your session, then based on the parameter that you are choosing for a dynamic partitioning, Informatica can decide. Informatica itself can decide that what other partitioning scheme that should be used. These are the different dynamic partitioning options. Applies to both SONG stand for session on grid and non-SONG, basically non-session on grid or a single node domain. If SONG is not enabled, all partition will be on a single node. If SONG is enabled, partitions will be dispatched to the multiple nodes. Meet every data integration need. So Powercenter has got the tool, or the Powercenter tool is available in different versions. Different editions, basically the standard edition, the real-time edition, advanced edition, and the cloud edition. Apart from the cloud edition, the 3 different versions are restricted by the license. So you'll have to install once, and then based on the licensing feature, you can use the standard features, you can use the real-time features, you can use the advanced feature. High availability feature is a part of the real-time edition, and session on grid and the server on grid option is a part of the advanced edition. The standard edition is having only the single node domain. For the Powercenter Cloud, Informatica is providing a secure agent which you need to install in your particular machine, and then you can connect to Informatica Cloud and you can start your activity like designing your ETL solutions in the cloud itself. So you'll not need a repository to store that repository objects. Only just need to install the Powercenter secure agent, Powercenter secure agent in your machine, and you need to connect to the Powercenter cloud using the credentials. Just for a particular demonstration purpose, let me show you. So when you install secure agent, this particular window will come, which will actually try. You need to register with the Informatica Cloud, and after register, this particular window will come, and it will say that it has options for restart, stop, and providing the proxy. And if it is running properly, you will get this message: secure agent is up and running. Then you need to go to a particular website where you can once you log in, you will be given a particular interface where you can develop your mapping. Right. So there are the design option. If you go to the mapping, right, then you have the option for creating new mapping. Here actually you'll have to create the mapping. So the name and this thing we have already created a mapping, whereby we are trying to download the data from Salesforce. We have created one account in the Salesforce, and we are trying to download the data from the Salesforce and moving it to a targeted system. You can configure different options over here. You can configure different connections, the source connection and the different target connections, and you can configure schedules, maplets, everything. Whatever you have been doing with some restrictions, whatever you have been doing in the Power Center with some restrictions, most of them you can do over here as well, right? So this is your source for actually which is basically a Salesforce connection. If you go to the source option, you'll see that this is basically a Salesforce connection, whereby you'll be able to see that what are the URL that you are going to use over here and test it. You'll see this succeeded. Right? That's similar. You can execute the mapping as well, and you can see that the data has been loaded. This is basically the simplest form of it. However, you can create the mapping as per your own requirement. And then Informatica is also providing you the option for importing that bundles or that basically templates, or you can say the accelerators that Informatica has provided in order to accelerate your ETL job preparation. Right? You can click on the business published bundles where Informatica will show you these are the different options, accelerators that Informatica has already provided to it. You can accommodate them in your cloud, and you can start creating a job from there. Right? So these are some basic templates that Informatica has provided you to make your ETL job and cloud on a first. Right? And then I will move to the revision 5. Collaboration between global IT teams. What are the different features? Flexible metadata-driven architecture that standardizes reusability across different labels. Set up robust visual tools to manage development administration, powerful productivity tools, metadata management, and data lineage. Then we have got Powercenter is the only tool. Informatica Powercenter is the tool which has got the versioning feature inbuilt within the tool. So if you have versioning option available, right? If you look at that repository service and at the repository properties, if you see the version control equal to true, this is again a license feature. If you have got team-based development, present in your license, you'll be able to create a version control repository. And if you have version control repository, you can check in, check out, and view history of different objects from there itself. Right? So you do not need external version control tool to use the versioning feature of the different objects or the repository objects for Informatica. And then we have got that metadata management. We can configure the metadata management service, and from there we can check out the data lineage option. We have got the screenshots available for data lineage. These are the steps to create your grid and assign entities to service for a particular grid. You will just move to the data lineage option. So if you configure your metadata management service, you'll be able to see certain catalogs that are coming, right, based on the Powercenter objects or based on the different databases that have been configured over there. If you click on a particular attribute and click on run lineage, it will give you the direction, the starting of or the source of your particular object from where that particular attribute is originating, and then the different mapping that it has passed through, mappings and the sessions, and then a target, and then from where this particular target has been used as a particular source, and then from what are the different mappings it has gone through, and at the end where actually it is ending, right? So the full flow you will be able to see using your data lineage, using your metadata manager to configure the data lineage. Right now, here we are trying to look at the first name where from it has originated. Where actually it is going basically. The first thing is that we are seeing that first name is originating from a particular source, customer.csv. Then it has passed through in customer FF and then session customer FF. Then it has moved to the customer target table, right? And from there, again, the customer target table has been used as a particular source, and then it has passed through these particular mappings in customer FF, then mtest composite connection, and then it has moved to the FF customer.out, this particular target, right? And then these are the different targets. Those are actually part of that the certain mappings where first name was present. Now we can enlarge it. We can click on the first name, and we can see that what are the different expression, what are the different transformations that actually have been used in order to transform that column first name or the attribute first name. right? So these are the different transformations that have been used in order to transform the first name. And if we click on the next attribute, the full name, we'll see that full name is basically a part of your first name, last name. First name has been used as a single attribute as well as in the target as a single attribute, as well as it is a part of the full name. So entire data lineage starting from your source to the target, you'll be able to see you have the metadata manager services installed and configured. Team-based controlled capabilities, as we said, inbuilt version control, no need for external version control tool, check-in, check-out, and version history, control deployment across the environment, locations, teams to accelerate development using development group. Inbuilt workflow scheduler to fulfill your scheduling needs. So if you go to the workflow properties, you can edit, and then the option for scheduler. You can create custom schedule based on your need, and you can associate that particular scheduler with the workflow. And then this particular workflow will be executed based on the schedule. Reusability features, you can use the reusability feature of Powercenter in a different way. You can create reusable transformation, applet, worklet, reusable sessions and tasks, parameters and variables, shared folder, and global repository. Using all these objects, creating all these objects, you can leverage the reusability feature of your of Powercenter. You can create a reusable transformation. You can use it at different mappings where actually the same set of function is being used. Similarly, for the maplet, you can create a maplet to perform certain action, which is actually will be needed in different mappings. You can use the maplet over there. Similarly, for the worklet, you can even create reusable session and task and use it in the separate places where actually you need it. Similarly, you can leverage the parameters and variables, and then shared folder and global repository feature. Recovery is basically considered action of returning the application data and database to a normal and consistent state. So due to certain issues, if your job has failed at a certain point of time, if you have recovery feature enabled, you can recover the job at the failure point itself. You don't have to perform any manual recovery. Right? Now, where from you can configure it, you'll have to again go to the workflow properties. Let me show you one thing. You have to go to your workflow properties and then edit, and then the properties will have options for enable HA recovery. Enable HA recovery. If you click on that, if you execute the particular session, Informatica will store certain information at this particular place. Okay. So this is a place where actually Informatica stores certain information in order to recover your job. Right? Now, whenever you are having the problem with the job and the job has failed, right? You can just right click on it, and whichever is failed, you can just right click on it and you can say the recover task. So these actually will instruct integration service to read the data from here for which the job has failed and recover it from the point of the failure. Right? So these options, the enable HA recovery, this is not a part of a licensing. But that automatically recover terminate tasks, this is a part of our HA license. If you do not have HA license, this will be disabled. Our enable HA recovery is part of a standard license. If your job has failed, if you have HA license, it will be recovered automatically. However, if you do not have HA license, if you just have to click, right click on it and click on recover task, the job will be recovered from the checkpoint from where it has failed. Okay, so recovery in Powercenter, data recovery, making inconsistent data consistent, continuing workflows and tasks after they have been interrupted, and the domain infrastructure must be available in order to recover the data. Unless and until your domain infrastructure is available, you will not be able to recover it, because you'll need your integration service and the repo service to be available and to be executing in order to start recovery. So these are that how when we enable the HA recovery To recover a workflow, integration service should be able to access the workflow state of operation. So this is the place, guys, where Informatica is storing the state of the operation of the workflow, like different information of the workflow and different information of the sessions. All of them have been stored over here. And once you are clicking on recovery, or once you are asking for recovery, it will read the workflow state of operation from here, and it will start recovery from that point of that point of time, basically, from where it has failed. Recovery strategy: apply sessions and command task, fail task and continue workflow, restart task, resume from last checkpoint. So these are the different session and task recovery strategies that you can use. If you do not have HL license, you have to do it by hand through mouse and keypad, just the way I did. And then Informatica Cloud Edition, whatever you have just seen, that it has got the components, cloud application, basically the URL where actually you are creating your mappings, task and everything. Cloud hosting facility, this is internal to Informatica. A place where actually Informatica is hosting all the cloud components. Cloud services you can use to perform tasks such as data synchronization. This is also internal to the Informatica, where it is hosted Informatica Cloud. And the Secure Agent. Secure Agent is something that you need to download. Currently, Informatica is providing a 30-day trial period for Secure Agent. You can download it and you can try to start your Informatica Cloud. Start creating a mapping in Informatica Cloud. Okay, so that's all about the different reasons or the features, basically, which are associated with Powercenter. Some of them are licensed and some of them are coming as a part of a standard license. You can use them in your existing ETL job, right? So these are the different features of Informatica which will help you out to build a solid and a robust data integration, which is high available, which is highly scalable, and which is having your team-based collaboration, the global collaboration among the different teams, right? This will help you. These are the different features that you can use. We are at the end of the webinar, and if you have any questions regarding the session, we can take them now. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, we can take them now. Yeah, Anand, Nasim, guys, if you have any questions now regarding the session, we can take them now. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not seeing any questions. So with this, guys, we are going to end the webinar for today. And I request before you guys leave, please provide your feedback on this particular webinar so that we can make it better the next time. And the different topics that you can come to your mind, you can suggest there as well, so that we can cover future webinar as well. Okay, so yeah, as I'm not seeing any questions, I'm going to end the webinar for today. Thank you guys for joining the webinar, and we'll see you at our next webinar.